Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The wisdom of the sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Raghunath Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hi from Super Soul Farm. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Monday. It's Makeover Monday. You had us struggling through the weekend, struggling through all last week, couldn't get on your feet. Hey, guess what? It's a new day. Started all over today. Today's a new day. Yesterday's gone. Good morning, Kaustubha. How are you?
I'm doing good, Raghunath. Happy to be here with you to start a whole new week.
It's all happening. And our nugget theme this week, Kaustubha, this is something I would come up with. We've had Aristotle week, Stoic week, Marcus Aurelius week. We even had Yoda week. Kaustubha is like, this week is death week.
Actually,
it's like something I would make up.
I didn't say it was going to be death week. I just said this is a death nugget, but it could be death week. We could go with that.
Is it Bahulastami today, or is that
it
yesterday?
No,
it is the appearance of Radhakund.
Yeah.
This is where everybody comes to Radhakund, the holy sacred lake of Sri Radha, and comes at midnight chanting and singing, and is packed, and everybody at midnight takes a bath.
I've never been there for the midnight bath.
That was my first trip to India.
Maybe next year I have to do it.
Yeah, that's where I met Satchidananda Swami, actually.
On that night, huh?
We bathed. Oh, what a night! You know I did.
Kartik back in 93.
Sweet surrender, what a night. You can transcendentalize all these old songs from the 70s.
But you don't have to.
But you can. Here's the deal. They're in there anyway. They're in my head anyway. I just need to put
for sure.
Krishna, the sages, and replace them.
Right.
I mean, once you say what a night, that song is coming right on the jukebox.
Hard for it not to come back. That song takes me right into like an Italian wedding reception or something like that.
In Queens for my cousin.
Exactly. All right, Raghunath, let's get into announcements. Why don't we do that?
Sure. Mara, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. We have a Back to Your Recovery group meeting today at 1:00. The normal Monday yoga class with Zeb is on hold for a while because Zeb's coming to India with us on pilgrimage.
Okay.
And then for Patreon members, for everyone, there's 40% off Divya's masterclass. If you want to learn about Ayurvedic cooking, there's a link. I'll include the link on the show notes and put it on the chat board.
The masterclass with Divya. I laid in bed with my son last night, my 8-year-old Tarun, and I said, "How'd you like to do a cooking course with me?" He's like, "I love that." He's like, "I'm excited. I'm going to do the cooking course." Here's the deal. People don't learn these things. People don't learn how to cook anymore. Yeah. I never cooked from scratch until I moved into the ashram. My mom never even cooked from scratch. Cooking from scratch, everything's in a box. Everything's in a can. I never had fresh asparagus. I never had fresh string beans until I moved into an ashram. Huh?
You had them out of the can?
Yeah, like soggy or frozen like a block.
But killing the prana. Everybody's got to listen to yesterday's interview, right? It's called, what was it called? Food
charged with prana.
Food. Thank you, Mayor. Food charged with prana.
Yeah, the 70s was a bad time for food. It was like, we're going to make everything easy and process it.
Okay. So
yeah. So check out
learn
that
to cook.
course.
It's so important. It's important for your health, important for your devotion and for your bhakti.
Okay. can you put that in the show notes? How to get that course, Mara?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about gifting it to Papa Tony for Christmas.
Oh, that's a great idea, man.
Yeah,
that's a great gift. Would
he loves to cook. Yeah, definitely. He loves to cook, and he's always trying out new recipes anyway. So I thought that he'd love to know like which spices combine better with other spices for digestion.
Papa Tony. Papa Tony always watches Gus when I go away.
Yeah, maybe you both go in on it together.
Yeah.
And you can also find that always we'll have the link in our, like if you go to our Instagram bio, there's a link tree there and you can find our link there.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. All right.
It's as if you're telling the audience, but it's like you're telling me. I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
I know these things.
Yeah, you can go and find it there, Raghunath, to give it to Papa Tony.
Yeah. Mara and me and Damodar Priya and Tarun and Amalini went to Gopal Chandra's mom and stepfather's house last night.
Oh,
we haven't seen them for a while. She just got
that's
back.
Good. Check in.
She took his ashes to the Yamuna River.
She did.
If you don't know Gopal Chandra, he was one of our Zoomers who left his body with cancer, and we did a show with him, and he was a special soul. And I started realizing, like, me going there and reading to him as a service to him, it became a service to me. It somehow switched at a certain point. And I was like, I'm getting a lot out of this. I need this for me. And I think I'm trying to lead you into Death Week here.
Okay.
Because leaving your body is it's one of these just life cycles. In the same way I'm watching the leaves fall off the tree right now. And you can't just say, it's cold in winter. We're just going to get rid of winter and have this endless summer. You sort of miss something out in the change of seasons by trying to ignore this change of seasons. And it's as tragic as it is sometimes, and as much as we as a culture wants to sweep death or even unexpected death, as much as we want to like sort of sweep it under the rug, it's a reality. And it can also it can make you sad, but can also sort of like lift you. And it's sometimes sad that it takes a tragedy to realize the importance of life, or not necessarily the importance, but because sometimes you think of we're using religionists are using death as a threat to get serious about your religion. No, but it's more of a chance to put your life in perspective, and I feel like that's what the gift it was for me.
Thank you, Raghunath.
You're welcome.
That brings it. That almost brings us to the death nugget for the day. But there's one quick more announcement that Mara needs to make. Right?
Thank you.
Sorry, I jumped the.
Sorry to break the flow.
Yeah, sorry.
I was really flowing there. I was like, I set you up, man.
I know, it was good.
I apologize.
I was like, Costume's gonna be so proud of me.
That was really good.
My God, Rocket not prepared for class.
Divya's offering a cooking Q&A session.
We're back on Divya?
Yeah, because it's such an important announcement.
He's offering a cooking Q&A this evening at 6 p.m. for our Patreon members.
What an opportunity. She's like a big celebrity chef. She's like so knowledgeable.
She's a celebrity. Hey, it's for our Patreon members exclusively. Our exclusive Patreon party.
Yes.
All right. So this is your chance to become, if you've been sitting on the fence to join Patreon, boom, bah. Here's your chance. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
They're asking, will it be recorded? It will be recorded, right, Mary?
It will be recorded.
But you won't be able to ask your questions.
That's a good point.
So.
But other people might have questions that you also would have asked.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah.
Or even good questions that you wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, because people are different.
People are different.
Thank you.
Learn to live with that, Raghunath. Okay, accept that.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip my whole intro to death.
You just did it.
The joy of death. Well, yeah, I know, but I'm not gonna do it again.
Okay.
We're just gonna go right into our nugget today.
Death nugget number 1. Who's it from?
This is from someone named Haruki Murakami.
That's right.
My guess, Japanese.
He's a Japanese writer. His novels, essays, short stories have been bestsellers in Japan and internationally.
Ever been to Japan?
Never.
Very cool place.
I bet.
It's sort of like the future meets the ancient world. It's got that vibe.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it.
Mm.
I just said that. Thank you. It's not the opposite of life. It's just a part of life. It's a season. It's, you know.
I think we get trained to think it's the opposite of life, right? If you don't have spiritual knowledge, and again, spiritual knowledge meaning the understanding that the soul is made out of a completely different type of energy, spiritual energy, which is
Substance
by nature eternal, right? If you know that life is eternal, then death is just a transition within life. But if you don't know that life is eternal, then death is the end of life or the opposite of life. So Haruki here, I think it's profound what he's saying, even though it's very, concise. Death is not the opposite of life. Did you used to think of it that way?
Of course. And not only that, even worse. Yeah. The opposite of life, but it's also just this thing like we hide. It's a part of life, disease and death, that we sort of like hide in a closet, unless it's really confronting, unless it's like right in our face and like slapping us around. Otherwise, for the most part, healthy Raghunath, when none of my friends are sick or dying, it's like culture has a way of just like compartmentalizing it in the attic or in the basement or in a closet in the basement where you don't even think about it. Yeah. But it's real. And it's sometimes really jarring, and sometimes it's really jarring meets uplifting, or jarring meets incredibly depressing if you have no framework of how to put it in perspective.
Yeah. Without the spiritual framework, death is just bitter, and therefore the rituals around it are depressing, like dark and depressing.
Right. You think of a funeral, you think of the lady in the black veil and the black stockings.
Yeah. But if there's this,
I mean everything's black, including her stockings.
All right. I don't know what kind of Freudian thing that was, but in any case.
What kind of funeral? Immediately I get these gothic pictures of like the Elvira. That's not what I meant. I meant just like everything's
Elvira. Okay. We're losing him early this week, man. Yeah, but so it's just bitter when there's no spiritual knowledge. But when there's spiritual knowledge, it becomes this kind of unique bittersweet, right? Particularly when you know that person lived a good life, that they move forward. Right.
Yeah, I mean, in a spiritual perspective, like a devotee leaving their body, it's a bittersweet. Yeah. Then it's even more sweet and less bitter.
Yeah. Bitter because we lose their association, but sweet because we know they're doing good. They're advancing.
Can I share some words of deep spiritual wisdom?
Please.
From a very, very
here we go.
thoughtful punk hardcore band from 1991.
Sure.
Shelter.
Okay. That one.
Lyrics.
Okay.
Well, because this was the thing that sort of like pushed me over the edge of my spiritual life. I was really interested in spiritual life, and when my father left his body, it was like I was thrown into this sort of like world of abyss. And I'm luckily I had some type of spiritual cushion to like land on, because I feel like no one else within my family did. We can profess a spiritual loyalty to a particular church or denomination, but the real test of that is, can it support you, cushion you, lift you? Can you embrace it when you're going through these massive reversals in life? Or is it just a club that when people say, what religion are you? Or it's something I can focus my holidays around.
Okay.
It's actually got to give you something back.
Right.
That's why we're doing it. Shall I?
Hit it.
You're the only thing that sobers me up, talking to death.
Oh, Raghunath. Soliloquy.
You're the only thing that sobers me up and keeps me always trying. And it may look bleak, but I can't be weak and go on with more crying. Each moment I search, it won't get worse. So when will I stop denying? Give up these lies, time's ticking by as I watch this body dying.
Nice, Raghunath.
The
We're
trivial
watching
things. Wait a second. There's more. The trivial things I'm caught up in. Can I give up this fantasy? I know there's more, much more in store than what my eyes can see. 5 minutes, 5 weeks, or 50 years. Which moment will be the last? And when time runs out, what was it all about? This is going by too fast. You belittle my problems, and by doing so, solve them.
Oh, that's a zoom out.
That's a zoom out, huh?
Yeah.
I was zooming out at 21.
Nice.
You belittle my problems, and by doing so, solve them. No more worries today. We say we understand you, but don't plan for you to be coming our way. I fear for my peers, and I see the future. Because sometimes when you have that death reality in front of your face, you start seeing like everybody's an illusion. Everybody's an illusion. So I fear for my peers, and I see the future in every elderly body's face. Like that beautiful girl right there, she's an old lady. That strong, ripped, Venice Beach, Muscle Beach dude, he's an old man. I fear for my peers, and I see the future in every elderly body's face. But this material fantasy is hard to see, and when death comes, we're blown away. Boom. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Death.
Thank you.
That was great, Raghunath. What was the name of the song?
It's from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I happened to be reading that book at the time, On Death and Dying.
That's the name of the song?
On Death and Dying, from the first Shelter record.
Well done. The bard of his generation, Mara.
Very impressive.
Raghunath. No, it was great. For real.
You can just call me Bach the Bard.
Okay. Now you ready to... you know what? That reminded me... Well, anyway, maybe I'll read it now. I got another nugget, another death nugget. But one of the lines...
Like Halloween week.
I know. We should have saved it for Halloween.
This one's from Silence of the Lambs.
You ready? This one is from Jean de La Fontaine.
Put the lotion in the basket.
Do you have a license for that monkey? You know that one? You know that one? I shouldn't have done it. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
He was a, do you know who he was? Jean
Peter Sellers?
de La Fontaine? No.
Oh, him?
Yeah.
Was that Peter Sellers who said put the monkey in the
that was
basket?
Inspector Clouseau.
The license for your monkey? Okay. All right, go on. I don't know who this other
he
French
was
man
he was a poet, a 17th century poet known for his fables.
Okay.
He says death never this related to one of the lines that you just read that you composed. Death never takes the wise person by surprise. They are always ready to go.
Ooh,
right?
I like that.
Always ready to go. I just recently read something that was from Olivia Harrison, George Harrison's wife.
Okay.
Did you see the film Martin Scorsese did on George Harrison?
No.
I
didn't
gotta go
even
find
know about
that.
Olivia Harrison. I didn't even know there was an Olivia Harrison.
That was his wife.
Okay.
His second wife. And,
I immediately went to Olivia Newton-John. I was like, oh, she's still around?
So anyway.
The only other Olivia I know.
She just passed away too, actually, just recently.
Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, just like a month ago.
Oh my
or something
God,
like that.
she was so young.
Okay, let's hold up here.
And a
Now
great
you're
dancer.
lamenting death. Death is just a transition right now.
When will I learn?
I don't know how young she was either. She was probably
Yeah, you know
in
what?
her
I've got a
70s or
picture in
something
my
like that.
mind in her,
Yeah,
in
that's
her
right.
young, in her young incarnation.
Was she wearing
probably
beautiful
old.
stockings?
Beautiful. Do people even wear stockings anymore?
Okay.
Mara, have you ever worn a pair of stockings?
Of course she has.
No,
I
she
have.
hasn't.
Yes, I have.
You have?
She has.
Yeah, I have.
You're thinking of
Don't wear
pantyhose.
stockings.
People don't wear pantyhose anymore. That was a different thing. right?
Well, what's the difference of stockings and pantyhose?
Stockings can be like thicker wool. Why are we talking about this right now? I was talking about Olivia
It might be
Harrison.
the first time in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism that people are talking about steaks and pantyhose on the show.
Okay, and that's probably a
Sorry.
clue. That's
I
probably a red
apologize for you
flag.
traditionalists. I really, really
That is
deeply
probably a
apologize because there
red
are
flag.
people like sometimes sannyasis listen to this show.
That's right. So we're moving
They
on.
don't want to hear this.
Okay, so I was talking about Olivia Harrison. She was talking about George Harrison, and she said his whole life he was preparing for death. And so I have and she was saying, so I'm totally confident that he had a good one, that he had a good death, like he had a good transition, She was there watching him, and she was like so impressed with him. But she realized it wasn't just by luck that he was able to handle his death so well, but he was always preparing for it. And so therefore, when this Jean de La Fontaine says, death never takes the wise person by surprise, right? We're seeing it everywhere, just like you're saying, right? We're seeing it everywhere. We're preparing for it always. And it's not that like we have to waste the life preparing for it. No, it's a vibrant, dynamic life preparing for death. But that
Sure.
moment's going to come,
and
it's going to be scary as hell if we're not ready for it.
It's not like George Harrison, was all macabre and goth and dark. He was a bright light in people's lives.
Yeah.
Just because you understand the temporality of material existence doesn't mean you are a sad, curmudgeon, introvert cave dweller.
you are really breaking out the thesaurus today.
I'm a word nerd.
Okay.
You know what? Did you ever hear this thing right before George Harrison died? Not right before, but I think a few years before. Some crazy stalker person
stabbed him. Yeah.
climbed his fence of his house and stabbed him.
Yeah.
And it was on the cover of some UK listeners probably know this, but it had a big headline that said something like George screams Hare Krishna as he gets stabbed.
Oh,
Have you ever
okay.
heard that? I saw that like in a Karmi.
I think I have
Karmi.
heard that. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Hare Krishna. It's pretty
preparing his whole
impressive.
life. Okay, you ready?
I'm always ready.
We're entering death now. Puranjan. Well, actually, there's more than there's one of my favorite passages, and we're starting chapter 28 now, new chapter today, right?
Yeah.
But Puranjan's gonna die,
Mm.
right? Puranjan's gonna die, but he's gonna come back again. And so the title of this chapter is chapter 28. Puranjan becomes a woman in his next life.
Interesting.
And
Greg DeGasu writes on the message board that Olivia was trained in martial arts and took the guy down in their
Wow.
home. That's pretty impressive.
okay.
It says on the message board, she's trained in marital arts.
Okay, Rogan. That's like a squirrel of a squirrel.
It's a squirrel. Of a squirrel.
That's like a squirrel giving birth to another squirrel, a faster squirrel. But this chapter has one of my favorite passages in it, Raghunath.
Oh,
Maybe,
okay.
maybe
Don't tell me.
A little bit
Surprise
of a
us.
spoiler. A little bit of a spoiler because it may.
Want to surprise us?
No, I think it's okay. We can say this, but what's going to happen is that he's going to take birth as a woman in his next life, which is very interesting. I think it's a healthy thing for us to contemplate, right?
Yeah.
That I may be a man now, but I may have been a woman in my previous life. I may be a woman in my next life. You may be a woman. You may be a man in your next life.
I love saying that to people. I love saying that. You think you're. Oh, I get it. You think you're a woman.
You're not.
You're not. I'm as much, and that sounds crazy, and it sounds like I'm making a big. It's not. It's reality. I'm as much of a woman as Mara is.
Not right now.
That's just a fact.
Not right now. You're not. But
I
you
am,
have
Mara.
been, and you may be.
Yeah.
You
In
may
a,
be
mo-
even
in a moment,
more.
for a moment, for a blink of an eye, for a sneeze.
That's right. There you
I'm a
go.
man,
That's right.
and then I'm something else.
Then you're a sneeze and you're a woman. And then you
And how
sneeze and
dare I get pride of my gender, of my race, of my? It's a
Right.
sneeze. It's not
that's
me
spiritual
whatsoever.
knowledge. I like that. Raghunath. I sneeze, I'm a man. I sneeze, I'm a woman. I sneeze, I'm a tree. I sneeze, I'm a duck-billed
Republican,
platypus.
a Democrat, a Russian, a Ukrainian. Hello? Do we have to solve the world's problems here on Wisdom of the Sages? Because we can.
The other day I said to you, Raghunath, I said, I got news for you, Raghunath. And that's what I was going to say is that you're not a man. When I said it, I said, I got news for you, Raghunath. And you said, well, I got news for you. That cracked me up. Okay, you ready?
I
I didn't tell you about the
no one
passage
else seems
yet.
to be laughing at our silliness this morning.
Well,
And Mara's just shaking her head.
Then
her
let's
hand
get to
on her face, bored.
Then let's get to the passage I was going to talk about. He becomes a woman in the next life, Puranjan. I think he's called Puranjani then, right? And then her, now it's her husband dies, and she's at the funeral pyre of her husband, right? Watching the body burn. And then a visitor comes up and begins to speak to her. It's so great. And that visitor, it's a brahmana, right? Like a spiritual teacher, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that brahmana begins to speak to her. Do you remember me?
Yeah.
I'm your old friend.
Your old friend.
And who is that? Do you know who that represents, Surga?
The mind.
Nope. I've been with you all along.
Jesus. Jesus. No, I don't remember.
That was me carrying you when there's only one set of footsteps. It's the Paramatma.
Oh,
it's the Paramatma. It's Lord Vishnu in the heart saying, "Don't you remember me? I'm your old friend, and we're very far from your home." Like that. It's such a great passage. So we're going to get to that in this chapter. But first, we're going to hear about the death of Puranjan. His city is going to be attacked by old age, by fear, by.
Are you telling us the whole story here?
Well, we've already kind of got that started. So let's dive in. Text 1.
Okay. The great sage Narada continued.
Did we do our?
Oh yeah, Om Namo. Thank you, Mara. We were really out there this week. Okay.
Talking about stockings.
Yeah. Do you remember them?
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 1.
Puranjana becomes a woman in his next life. Now, this is a sacred literature I can enjoy. Right? Where do you get a title like that, right?
It's true.
Puranjana becomes a woman in his next life. Oh, Krishna. The great sage Narada continued, my dear King Prachini Bharishat, afterward the king of the Yavanas, whose name is fear itself, as well as Prajvara,
that's the
Kalakanya,
yeah.
Kalakanya, and his soldiers began to travel all over the world.
So there's fear came. Prajvara was the fever of death. Kalakanya, it means time. And the soldiers are all those, disease and old age and all that.
Once the dangerous soldiers attacked the city of Puranjana with great force, although the city was full of paraphernalia for sense gratification, it was being protected by the old serpent.
That's the prana we were talking about. The prana's getting weaker now, right? It's not being able to maintain that body, not able to protect the city anymore.
Gradually, Kalakanya, with the help of the dangerous soldiers, attacked all the inhabitants of Puranjana city, and thus rendered them useless for all purposes.
The body gets like that, doesn't it? Right? You can't walk. You can't do all the things. Digestion is hard. You go into the bathroom is hard. Everything becomes hard.
Everything becomes a little harder
with old age.
Walking and going to the bathroom. Those are the first two things that came to my mind, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid.
What? What, walking? Yeah, that's important. Going to the bathroom. When that becomes difficult, life can become miserable.
Guess it does. When Kalakanya, the daughter of time, attacked the body, the dangerous soldiers of the king of the Yavanas entered the city through different gates.
See?
They then began to give severe trouble to all the citizens. You know, my mom I just called my mom the day before yesterday, and I said, "How's it going, Mom?" She's like, "My days are numbered."
Wow.
And then she just actually came to this. It was like it was a little sad. I was like, "Mom, don't say that. You're like struck." She's like, "No, she had to go to the emergency room. She fell.
Oh.
She just keeps falling at this point.
Right.
You know, there's a point. You're right. You can't, she can't like to walk to the bathroom. That's how she fell. That's when you said that, it reminded me. But it's just like the body just can't do it. It just doesn't have the strength or the balance.
And when it's saying that all the gates are being attacked, just think about it. The eyes. Look, you're wearing glasses, right? Because you get older, you know, it starts to attack the eyes. You know, the ears, you can't hear as well.
Yeah,
everything.
I can't see that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the gates are being attacked by time, by old age.
When the city was thus endangered by the soldiers of Kali Kanya, King Puranjana, being overly absorbed in affection for his family, was placed in difficulty by the attack of Yavanaraj and Kala Kanya. So again, this sounds like a very innocent, innocuous, right? Affection for the family. Well, that's a good thing, right? I don't want an abusive father, a cruel father, a mean, evil stepmother. I want affection for my family. No, wait, there's more. It's even if in the perfect family setting, perhaps you didn't get the perfect family setting and you're a little hurt. I got news for you. In the biggest picture of things, we have to learn a healthy detachment from even the good things in life, even loving parents, loving brothers and sisters, etc. Some of us never had that anyway, so we're just like lamenting for it. But the fact is, nothing, the bad things of this world and the great things of this world ultimately have to be consciously cut. And sometimes if you're blessed, you get a little pain because it's a little easier to cut there, you know?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with affection for one's family. It's a good thing. Actually the evolved living being will have deep affection for the family members, but it's within the context of truth, right? It's not an illusory affection, but it's an affection based on truth. And part of that truth is that you don't belong to me and I don't belong to you. We're passing through these bodies, just like we were talking about earlier, right? Time somehow has brought us together for some blip, you know, in time.
A blip.
And we should make the most of that by loving one another, caring for one another in the context of truth. And then time is going to separate us too, right? And if we don't have that truth, then it becomes very fearful, very painful. Right? And then we come back to learn the lesson again. Can we embrace truth? Can we understand who we really are, what we're really designed for? Or do we take birth in another family and develop the same attachments again? And then do it again and do it again. Okay, what's going on, Raghunath?
These are heavy subjects, by the way.
Yeah, they are. But we got to talk about them, right? This chapter,
I can become completely depressed and completely giddy in like on a hair. It's like a hairpin turn.
I noticed that. So what happened to Raghunath over there?
No, I'm sad.
But this is to help these chapters. It's such valuable literature. It's to help us think about this.
Yeah,
right?
It's got to be thought about. We've got to like journal these in our consciousness.
Right. Okay.
When the city was thus endangered by the soldiers. Okay. Text 6. When King Puranjana was embraced by Kala Kanya, he gradually lost all his beauty. Happens.
Having been embraced by old age.
Having been too much addicted to sex, he became very poor in intelligence and lost all his opulence. They say that's one of the downfalls of great kings. Being bereft of all possessions, he was conquered forcibly by the Gandharvas and the Yavanas.
The days and the nights, remember? They're just eating them up now.
Yeah. King Puranjana then
but
saw...
you know, there's even like this being addicted to sex. It's once I think this can be understood just like when you're so distracted from what's most important in life, just just living a life for material pleasures, then as you start to lose your body, you're losing everything.
It's not just sex itself. It's just sex is a part of the analogy for my pleasure comes from everything here. Well, that's a problem when you're about to lose everything here, because you've developed a very firm attachment to all these things.
Yeah. But I think there's also like an Ayurvedic kind of play on it too.
Is there?
Is there
Part of the course?
Well, just in the sense that, like, if particularly for men, right? But if men are too sexually active, then it's just burning the loss we get into the whole semen retention subject. I'm not gonna go deep into, but actually, it's just like
not even 7 in the morning, and we're getting into semen retention. Okay.
Yeah. But the point is that, like, if you waste it all as you grow older, you just start your mind just becomes very weak.
No one teaches this anymore.
They don't teach us.
No one teaches the kids this.
Sometimes you see these guys that were like real, like celebrity Don Juan types, when they're young, and then when they get old and they're just like, their mind is gone. It's just sad, right? It's like, oh, you were the man back then, but look at you now, Whereas you have like the sadhu, who's like, as he's getting older, they're getting more powerful.
They're glowing.
They're glowing. Yeah,
glowing.
That's the point.
They've lifted that ojas to their skull.
There you go.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Ojas,
7.
Good name for a band. We're Ojas.
All right.
From Perth.
Hit it. Text 7.
Text 7. When King Purangana saw that everything in this town was scattered, and that his sons, grandsons, servants, and ministers were all gradually opposing him.
You put the word "when" in front of that, and it changed the whole
King
thing.
Purangana then saw that everything in his town was scattered, and that his sons, grandsons, servants, and ministers were all gradually opposing him.
That's right.
He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent.
Oh, so the sons are discernment and other such qualities. They're running off, right?
Just
They're
like
scattering. Yeah. The grandsons are patience and other qualities like that. That's all. I'm losing my discernment. I'm losing my patience, right? They're all running out. The followers are the senses. The ministers are the controlling deities of the mind and senses.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife represents the intelligence. So he was losing his power of apprehension, his intellect. They were all scattering.
Text 9.
Text 8.
Text 8. When King Purangana saw that all his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else had turned against him, he certainly became very anxious. But he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by Kala Kanya. What's the translation for secretary?
I'm not
we
sure.
hear secretary a lot. I wonder if that just means like a servant, a secretary.
I'm not seeing anything.
Secretary. It's got to be.
Anxiety.
I always think of secretary like typing, taking notes, steno.
But you know what is interesting here is that it's saying like he's trying to find a way to counteract. Like when people are dying and it's coming closer, they're trying to find ways to counteract it. He can't find any, but you reach that point where there's no way to counteract it, right? He couldn't, there's no mantra that you can chant. There's no medicine that you can take. It's just, in the end, within that 100 years or so, it does the job and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. Text 9.
Want to hear a good quote? I wrote this down. I thought you'd love it.
Does it relate to this?
Chains. Does it relate to what we're talking about? Yes, it does.
That's my question. Okay.
What do you think I'm just talking about? The bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush.
That's quite possible. That's called a squirrel. You thrive on them. But go ahead.
The double squirrel is good today.
The squirrel giving birth to a squirrel.
The grand squirrel. The chains of habit are too. The chains of habit are too late to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken.
Oh, I like that. Where did that nugget come from?
I don't know.
Say it again.
The chains of habit are too light to be felt. They're too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken.
Oh, that's good.
Boom! That's a T-shirt, man.
I like it. The chains of habit. The chains of habit.
That did have something to what you were talking about. That like here is the time of death, but now I can't even get rid of I've done too much. I've been addicted. The snowball's been rolling too big to stop it.
By the
It was
time
at
you
fir-
realize it, yeah,
By the time you realize it, it's like,
too
help,
heavy.
here comes the avalanche.
Nice, Raghunath. I like that one.
Thought
Okay.
it was a squirrel
No,
trying
that
to
was good.
pigeonhole me as a furry little.
I asked. I didn't
furry-tailed-
say it was. I just asked. I checked in first. Text 9.
Next 9. The objects of enjoyment became stale by the influence of Kalakanya. Due to the continuance of his lusty desires, King Puranjana became very poor in everything. Thus, he did not understand the aim of life. There it is, the ultimate distraction. He was still very affectionate towards his wife and children. Again, right? And he
In
worried
an
about
illusory
maintaining-
context. Yeah, in an illusory context.
In an illusory context, like they can protect me. Where are the people that can protect me? They can't
Or
protect you.
how will they be protected when I'm gone? That's a huge fear, you know. You know what I was thinking, Raghunath, is sometimes you see. Why are you laughing at me?
Just thinking about you going, I got something to tell you. I was like, I got something to tell you.
You know what I was thinking? Well, you know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
But you know, it must be terrifying to be growing old without spiritual knowledge and your body slipping away, right? You're realizing.
I think so.
But when you see these real sadhus, you know, and they're growing old, when they're observing the deterioration of their own body, they find humor in it. You know, it's kind of like they're ready for it, and they just kind of like look at the position I'm in here. You know?
This is ridiculous.
I have a hard time getting up now. Look at me,
right?
You know? And they kind of laugh at it, realizing that this isn't the end, or this isn't forever. This is something that I'm going to pass through, and look, I'm exposed, right? Like I'm not powerful. Look how dependent I am at every step. And there's like a humor, and it's like a healthy kind of humor, I think, you know. But King Puranjana doesn't have that. He's got no spiritual knowledge, so he's terrified. It's like my city's being attacked and everybody's scattering, and you know, what will I do now? So he's really feeling that terror.
Terror. That was a band.
Sheer terror.
Sheer terror. All right. Continuing on. It was Bertrand Russell who's did that quote. The chains, the light.
Good one.
Okay. The object of enjoyment became stale by the influence of Kalakanya due to the continuance of his
I
lust.
think you read that.
Okay.
Text
10. The city of Puranjana was overcome by the Gandharva and the Yavana soldiers. That's time and
days and nights.
Days and nights. And although the king had no desire to leave the city, right? He didn't want to die.
No, he doesn't want to leave the body.
Doesn't want to leave the body. He was circumstantially forced to do so, for it was smashed by Kalakanya.
You got to run at a certain point, right?
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. You got to go.
It's like sometimes they have like, you know, like there's some you see in films and so on. There's some ruler, and they want to stay and fight, and the ministers come and say, no, we got to take you like right now. You know, like
yeah,
it's all falling apart. There's no hope anymore.
The collapse.
The collapse, yeah.
Under the circumstances, the elder brother of Yavanaraj, known as Prajvara, set fire to the city to please his younger brother, whose other name is fear itself. So this is fear coming now.
Mm-hmm.
Once the city goes, then fear shows up. Once the body goes, immediately fear enters.
Prajvara is the like when you're dying with a fever, it's like the fever of death.
Oh, okay.
The temperature is just increasing so high. I think it's in this commentary. Prabhupada says like if your fever reaches like 107 or something, you die. Something like that.
When the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and the servants of the king, as well as all the family members, son, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. King Puranjana thus became very unhappy.
So the
who are all those people again?
The citizens are the 7 dhatus.
Okay, that means these are the material elements of the body.
Yeah, but things like phlegm is one of them, right? Isn't it like the dhatus are like that?
Phlegm's running for his life.
Bile. It's all getting burned up. All those ingredients of the body are getting burned up. The red
that you're trying to maintain with your Ayurvedic cooking.
That's right.
It's over.
That the prana was maintaining. Yeah. Okay. The retinue or servants are the senses, and the descendants are the sons and grandsons, which you heard about earlier, the desires and so on. They're all just getting burned up.
Okay. The city superintendent of police. That's funny. The
That's
chief
the
of
serpent.
police.
That's
is
the
above me.
prana. That's the prana.
The serpent. That the citizens were being saw that the citizens were being attacked by Kalakanya, and he became aggrieved to see his own residence set ablaze after being attacked by the Yavanas. Must have been how Ravana felt when Hanuman burnt down Lanka. I'm losing everything.
Yeah.
Everything that I thought, everything that I built is now
Right.
getting taken away from me.
All getting torn down. The Prabhupada writes, so this is the prana, is the superintendent of police, right? And but that and it's that prana that maintains order within the body. It's prana which aids our digestion. It's prana which allows us to eliminate. It's prana which is allowing us to move. And so prana is like maintaining the whole city. It's the superintendent of the police, right? But Prabhupada says here, when there is security and an absence of fire in the city, then the police superintendent can impose some authority on the citizens. But when there's an all-out attack on the city, he's rendered useless. Like the cops running around like, hey, everybody do this. Forget it, man. We're just like running for it, right? So it's like, the authority that the prana had in the body, it doesn't have it anymore because it's chaos now. Everything's falling apart. Everything's collapsing. Cop has no authority anymore.
All right.
You didn't like that? I thought that was really interesting. He was like, yeah, whatever.
I was like,
This
next.
Prabhupada said that, right?
No, you're good, Prabhu. That was good. It was very good.
Not me.
Don't ever take me not responding in a positive or even affirming, Don't ever take that.
I
as
need a
me.
little bit of that though on a podcast. It's needed. I need give me that right now. Dead air. It never feels good.
My brain is like a multi-headed serpent. That's my
Okay.
What should be one focused intelligence is sort of like I said the other day, a kaleidoscope.
A beautiful kaleidoscope.
Beautiful and tragic. Both everything. It's an everything kaleidoscope.
All right. I think we're out of time for today, Ragnar.
Oh man. That went fast, Mara. I laughed this entire show. I think that's a good thing. I think laughing is sometimes. I think it's very healthy to laugh. And I apologize if my laughing offended anybody.
But there is such a thing as jocularity, Raghunath. That can go too far.
Jocularity means laughing that's gone too far?
I think jocularity just means like laughing or something. But it's the kind of thing that a priest will...
Did I take it too far today? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're
No, I'm not saying that you did. I'm just saying that it can be, right? You're saying that like laughing is a good thing.
Why are you seeing the bad? Why are you seeing it half
because we do need to see both the good and the bad, Raghunath, you see. Sometimes silliness just is too much. Don't you think? Sometimes seriousness is required. Gravity. Sometimes gravity is required.
I think we have a healthy balance of both on this show.
Sometimes we do.
Let's go to takeaways.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Transcendentalize the pop songs in your head.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Or just
Goodbye,
forget
everybody. Good night. That could be your whole
Although
life's meditation right there.
Kastuba is exceptionally talented at transcendentalizing pop songs.
Yeah,
he's really good at it. Yeah.
Wait till you hear what I did with...
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. That's Lagima City, right? That's like the levitation.
Thank you, Ragnar.
All right.
Mara.
Sometimes it takes a tragedy to recognize the importance of life.
See?
True.
I was deep there.
You were. And that came from your place of gravity. And that's my point. There's value in that too.
It's like salt and pepper. You need them both.
Okay. I'm with you.
Death can be a gift to put your life in perspective.
I said that too.
You did.
I was grave.
You were grave.
Well done.
Spiritual knowledge can make the transition of death bittersweet instead of just bitter.
That's right.
That was you.
Sorry, Raghu, that one came from me. Do you have another one from Raghu?
Can you embrace your spirituality or religion during the reversals of life?
Can you?
We're always preparing for death.
Are we?
Should be.
We should be.
Our deep affection for family should be based on truth.
Ooh.
That was me.
And I
That's it?
sneeze,
That's
I'm a
it?
tree.
I sneeze, I'm a tree.
I sneeze, I'm a tree. Boom.
I sneeze, I'm a man. I sneeze, I'm a woman. I sneeze,
Sneeze,
I'm a
tree.
Did I
tree.
say I sneeze, I'm a tree?
Yeah. You said I sneeze, I'm a man, woman, tree.
You said I sneeze, and then I kind of ran
Yeah.
with it. But you get credit for that one, Ragnar.
You guys both get
the
credit,
assist.
okay?
You get the assist.
Okay. Melinda says she's still giggling about the stocking. See, I am too. Do you remember legs?
I do. They came in an egg.
They came in an egg.
Yeah.
My mom used to get legs, and we saved all the
Mine
eggs,
too.
and I
Mine
had
too.
great pleasure.
You can make maracas out of them at school.
Oh yeah,
With,
rattles,
corn
and-
in them or something like that. Like
yeah, we
popcorn.
saved them for Easter and gave out legs, eggs. Mara has no idea what
That
we're
was a
talking about.
huge marketing breakthrough. And they said, "Oh, we're gonna put them in the egg."
We're gonna put them in an egg, leg, egg. They rhyme, and then they made a whole like tree display of leg eggs.
Yeah.
Mara, you missed out on the stocking era of being a woman.
You don't know about legs,
Yeah.
Mara. You never heard
I
of
don't
that?
know about, nope.
Next
Never
life.
heard of it.
Next life.
Well, next life, if she should have to come
I might
back
be a
like in another
tree.
universe to
Are
enter
there
that time period.
Has time changed so quick that we just don't wear different? Like, do women wear girdles anymore? That was a thing.
Are
they
don't even
still a
go
thing?
there. You don't even have to
Stop
ask these
with women's
questions.
Is that like a
underwear.
real thing?
Yeah, just stay
Undergarments.
away
My mom
from
wore
women's
girdles.
Stay away
undergarments.
from women's undergarments.
That should be a rule on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. He lost
We
it.
lost him.
lost
He's
him
at
big
the end of
time.
the show.
Oh, Christian.
He's
gone.
really losing it.
He's under the desk. I don't know if he's gonna come back from this one.
It never recovers.
He's back. He's coming back. Speak to us, Rick.
What is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Keep pure devotional service far away from all types of women's garments,
Okay. There you go.
undergarments. Thank you. Oh my God. Girdles. All right, no more.
So Divya tonight.
We're up. The world.
Give you
everyone's-
tonight, 6 p.m.
Divya tonight,
What?
6 p.m.
What?
Q&A. Ayurveda cooking Q&A.
Ayurvedic
Ask
cooking.
the expert.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Ask all your Ayurvedic. This
So-
is stuff for real.
You'll
You can
find
ask
that
that
on.
question, too.
You'll give a
You can
link on
ask the
Patreon.
most
right?
simplest questions to her.
I'm going to send out the post on Patreon.
Maybe you could include the other link in the code and all of that in Patreon.
Sure.
too.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, Mara.
You're welcome. And Europeans can email me their if they have questions for Divya and it's too late European time, they can email it to us.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's smart. Mara, are you going to be on the thing?
I
tonight?
am. Yeah. I'm going to
All
help
right.
like
She's the host.
unmute people and field questions and things for
She's
Divya.
feeling
not-
questions.
Learn
Mara does
some
so
tips.
much
She does much for so little.
for so little.
I'm excited to learn from Divya, so you know,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Looking forward to
attitude,
it.
Mara.
You gonna have some questions, Mara?
I haven't thought of any yet, but I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
How do
How
you have
healthy
an
are all those
Ayurvedic-
ingredients in your kitchen? That's
Here's a
what I want to know.
Here's a question for you, Mara, or for her,
Yeah.
Mara, that you could ask on my
Sure.
behalf. Is like what you have a whole how are you supposed to cook an Ayurvedic meal for a family with a bunch of different constitutions?
They got the same constitution in the family usually, right? Huh?
Oh.
No, they don't. Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, I could see. But you invite a weird cousin over. Come on,
Okay. Well, there's tree dosha.
my crazy
foods.
Vata
Yeah.
cousin. My crazy.
I see.
My
And there's
the
ways
nerve-
to balance it. Like if you have something that's say very kapha, you sprinkle a little pepper on it, and then you're kind of like begin to balance it.
Okay. All right. Oh man, I'm feeling
a
like
little
exhaustion.
pitta.
I need to take a nap after all that laughing. I think I lost a lot of eye water. I guess that's called a tear. I lost some eye water. Cheers, guys.
You're losing too much
Anu
eye water.
Lawrence, Anu Lawrence.
But good, you better go drink. You lost too much eye water in the show.
Oh, I know. I'm dehydrated from all that eye water loss.